and joined by the Honorable Councilmember Paul Krikorian. As you can hear, it's very difficult to understand the speaker because of the acoustics. With your conversations, it makes it that much harder. So I truly appreciate your cooperation in taking your conversations outside. We have a few items to run through, and at this stage of the process, looks like the gods are with us. We have items 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 on consent. And I don't see any cards on those items, so Councilmember, would you like to move on the consent items 2 through 7? Second, so those items are moved. Item number 1, Roberto?
Yes, you want to consider that item, Councilman?
Yes.
Okay, that item is a city attorney report. It's relative to a proposed ordinance to change the Mills Act fees.
See no cards on that item. We can move to approve and direct the city attorney to prepare the ordinance?
No, actually approve the city attorney prepare ordinance, Councilman.
Oh, it's prepared already?
It's already prepared.
Oh, so you're ahead of the game. Pretty good. Madam Attorney, a momentous occasion.
Ouch.
No, that was an ouch. It was a compliment. That was a compliment. Knowing how inundated we are. And, you know, you're fighting 10 people with 2 hands, so, you know. Well, I thank you for your hard work. So with the second, we can approve the city ordinance, prepared ordinance. Okay, then that gets us items 1 through 7. This takes us to items 8, 9, and 10.
Correct.
Before we do that, Director's report, would you like, please?
Good afternoon, council members. I'll be brief. The department's been working very hard with the CLA, CEO, and the mayor's office, as well as various council members, on looking at transition options with the dissolving of the redevelopment agency. A lot of our concerns stem around how to implement the redevelopment plans that we feel provide some very powerful tools in various council districts. Things such as delimitations on FAR, where we currently receive public benefits when we lift those delimitations. Other items is design for development plans, where there's a finer grain level review currently happening by the staff of the redevelopment agency, where projects will get enhanced through urban design, through architectural design, the public realm, but the amount of attention spent on the smaller details because of these design plans is something that could currently be lost with the CRA being dissolved. In addition to all the economic development benefits, there are some overlays that we have in place in redevelopment areas, many of which are in the south part of the city, that provide certain protections for certain types of uses encroaching into certain areas that could be detrimental if those plans aren't fulfilled. So we're going to be drafting some options. We'd like to come back to Plum to present those on different ordinance options that the city can adopt that would address kind of a stopgap measure. We see it kind of as a 3-tiered approach. The easy issues that don't really require any funding that the city could take over control of. The other tier would be issues that are a little bit deeper that would require application fees to go to the department to review plans that are consistent with redevelopment plans, to make sure that we're still providing those protections. And the third layer would be the more complicated issues such as delimitations, T and Q qualifications on zones that currently require CRA board action, where the department would make recommendations to the council on different policy options to consider in adopting that. So we just want to ensure that you have all the information before you, not only on the economic development side, but the day-to-day land use controls that CRA and the planning department have worked for over 50 years in concert with, that with CRA going away, a lot of those people developing in those project areas would be kind of left in a gray area. They wouldn't have anywhere to go for their clearances, for the review of those plans. We want to make sure that we're making you aware of some of these things and also giving you some options that could quickly be adopted to address that if you so wish to.
Is there at what point will you be able to identify the projects in each respective district? Is there a way to identify that now?
Yes, we could provide that to you by your next meeting.
Can we have that?
Yeah.
That way, perhaps with a letter, I can share that with my colleagues so they are aware of which projects are in the state that they're in,
Right.
given the challenges you've already addressed.
Excellent.
That would help. Thank you. And then we'll keep my colleagues informed as to those transitions as well. Okay, so that being said, my understanding, Mr. City Attorney, that we have already conducted public hearing for 8, 9, and 10.
That's correct.
Okay, so I want to thank folks who submitted cards. At this stage, I want to just engage into the discussion of the issue, and I'd like to ask Mr. Skolnick from the council office to come to the microphone. I understand you have a recommendation for this committee on behalf of the council member.
Yes, that is correct. Daniel Skolnick from Council District 3. Councilman Reyes, at this time, the Councilman member Zine recommends that we approve item 9, the
Can you speak a little bit louder and
Sure.
into the microphone?
At this time, Councilmember Zine recommends the approval of item 9, the vesting tentative track, to deny the appeal and sustain the CPC recommendation. For items 8 and 10, which are the other entitlements, including the conditional use permits as well as the development agreement, Councilmember Zine recommends continuing the item for 1 week and to schedule the item for, and along with that, to schedule the item for council by the 22nd.
So it continues 8 and 10 and deny the appeal on 9.
Correct.
Okay. Now, given the issues on 9, I know I've received information from the discussion and comments made by the public last week, so I've reviewed that. So I'm comfortable moving in that direction. And the understanding is that when we continue this 1 week, we can also have that discussion pertaining to the other matters at hand. And that's something that you're prepared to discuss when we do, if we take that action. That something I'll ask Councilman Corcoran if you are, what your position would be, sir.
Well, last week when we discussed this, I indicated that I felt that there's a sense of urgency in moving forward. This is a big project with a lot at stake, and I think that it's important that we advance the ball. I'm pleased that we're recommending denial of appeal. That's a step forward, and I think if it's necessary to do another week to ensure that we get everything right on the development agreement and so on, I guess I'm supportive of that. But again, I want to reiterate, I think it's really important that we wrap this up. So if that's your pleasure, Mr. Chair.
Well, at this stage, given the... Okay, thank you, Councilman. And I do know we're operating within a certain window, and that there's issues the Councilman still has, so we can move on denying the appeal, and we'll continue the 2 items. Councilman?
Actually, were you going to ask the...
No, that would be, again, I was going to echo that recommendation.
There is one technical issue here that may develop, Mr. Chair, that I need to raise, and that is that apparently I will no longer be a part of this committee at our next meeting, and so that might raise the specter of reopening public comment and reopening the and maybe the city attorney could comment on whether or not that's going to have any impact on this process.
The new member will simply have to listen to the tapes.
Okay.
And then that person will be able to
Okay.
participate. But you're on the committee, you have the ability to participate and vote on this matter today. So
Today, but if it were delayed until next week, that's fine as long as the new member can make reference to the public comment.
That's
We
correct.
don't need to reopen public comment again.
No, they'll just, if they listen to the tape, then they can participate.
And that holds true for both council members, the one that wasn't present and the one that's coming in?
Yes.
Okay. Great.
Did you want to invite the proponent up?
I was hoping to close it, but if you want to, you got 2 minutes?
A procedural question, too.
We'll give you 2 minutes.
Thank you. Committee members, I'm Cindy Sterrett from Latham & Watkins, and I'll keep this very brief. We appreciate that Councilman Zine's office is supporting the denial of the appeal on number 9 We believe you have all the information before you to support that action. We also believe you have the information before you on 8 and 10. We look forward to working with the council office and are hopeful that those will all be resolved next week. We would like to note, though, that all 3 items are currently scheduled to be in council on the 7th, and the item of the tract map, I believe, has a time limit on it. So if the committee votes on the tract map today, my question is, can we work with the clerk? We would grant an extension until the 22nd, so all the matters could be in council on the 22nd. Would it be possible for them to all go together and all be in council on that day?
As long as all 3 are within the windows that are allowed for this council to act. Madam Clerk, do you see any difficulty in making those adjustments?
No, just for item number 9, just a written request to extend the time limit from what is presently February 10th to the 22nd, and then that can be done. But please note that item number 8 is the development agreement, and there is no time limit on this. However, once an ordinance is submitted, then there is a time limit. So at this point, item 8 is not scheduled for council on the 22nd.
Okay,
And I think
I'm
that's
sorry,
my-
just one more. Madam Attorney?
Terry Kaufman, Messia City Attorney's Office. Just whatever extension the applicant is requesting, the committee needs to, it's a mutually agreed extension, so you need to just include that in your vote, that you're agreeing to the extension.
And on the development agreement, Mr. Chair, we did meet with the council office and the city attorney's office who is preparing the development agreement. Our understanding was if the committee directed them to be ready to proceed with the development agreement very quickly, the city attorney's office would be able to meet that request. So I believe they will need an indication from the committee that you will want the development agreement ordinance to be ready on the 22nd, which is also our understanding that the Councilman Zine wants that too.
Okay. Council Rep, please.
So then I'll say, for the record, that the council office is open to that timeline to also hear the track on the 22nd if consent is given by the applicant.
Okay, so just to make sure everything is smooth, we do have a deadline of February 10th. We need an extension that is basically put forth by the applicant. I believe this committee will agree to support that extension so that both mutual goals are met, that both the council office and the applicant will have all the items come to the council on the same day. Is that accurate?
Correct, that's accurate.
And Mr. Chair, so I think you're including in that the city attorney should be prepared to have the ordinance ready for the February 22nd.
Madam Attorney?
Terry Kaufman, Messia City Attorney's Office. I know it's not done now. I don't know where it is in the process. I don't know if there's more information that the city attorney needs, the one that's working on it. So, I mean, I can take that back, that request back, but I have no idea what the status of it is.
We will have a better idea when we meet again on this issue since we continue next week. We can have a better sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
John Foreman, City Planning Department. I just wanted to let the committee know, though, that planning and the applicant and the council office and the city attorney's office have all been working together on the development.
Okay.
So it's in pretty good shape.
But you will give us a status on the next meeting, given it's been continued 1 week?
Yes.
Okay. Now, out of fairness, sir, we'll give you 2 minutes because I know we allowed the applicant 2 minutes. Did you have something to say, sir? I see you standing there with your hand on your
Well, for the record, being the appellant,
2 minutes.
you open the public hearing. I think the city attorney would agree you have to give us an opportunity to speak on
I'm
what
not opening
you
the
are
public
doing.
hearing. I was answering a question. But out of respect to you, sir, I'm giving you 2 minutes.
Well, we would concur that you continue all the items as you suggested,
Okay.
Honorable Mr.
Thank-
Reyes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. So we will deny the appeal, and that's been seconded. 8 and 10 will continue 1 week with all the directives that have already been stated for the record, and that will be the action of this committee. Roberto?
And you've also requested the city attorney to prepare the development agreement.
Yes, and we'll get a status on that
Next week.
next week. All right, so we're all on the same page. Anything else, Roberto?
No, Councilman.
Anybody here for public comment? Seeing none, this means adjourned.